Hi everyone, this is audap. Let's continue our game of Hermitage Strange Case Files on Nintendo Switch. This place is...
it's where you saw me yesterday. Don't tell me you forgot about that already.
No, of course I didn't forget, but I don't understand why you brought me here now. Is this Quinn's doing, and she finally decided to teach me a lesson and hired you to do the job? If so, don't think I'll make this easy for you.
You two really have some serious issues to work out.
Liam looks alert and ready for trouble. Zach ignores him as he rummages through the nearby bushes. Moving around the school campus with a shotgun isn't the smartest idea, so Zach stashed it here in the bushes earlier.
Here it is.
It's covered in dirt and dew, but it's a reliable pump-action model that should work just fine nevertheless. Not that he's planning to actually fire it anyway. Holy shit, is that what I think it is? Even someone of Liam's strong stature can't help but feel intimidated at the sight of such a deadly weapon. His voice is shaking.
But don't worry, if I really wanted to kill you, I would have done so on the way here. I had dozens of opportunities to do it. Also, don't you think this would be a little overkill for a guy like you?
Yeah, you're right. Justin is nowhere to be seen, which means Zach has to stall Liam a little longer. He pulls out the cartridge and shows Liam one of the spare shells.
One of these tranq rounds is enough to make a brown bear go nighty-night.
Of course, Zach is just babbling, but the bright yellow fluorescent shells speak louder than words.
Each one of these babies costs about $2,000, and that doesn't even include the cost of getting them through customs yet. Every pull of the trigger feels like burning a fat pile of money.
Tranquilizer rounds? Are you a hunter?
Hunter? Well, I guess you're not totally wrong. However, I'm hunting something very interesting. I'll give it to you straight. I'm an expert, hired personally by the principal. Things have been somewhat chaotic around here, and your principal is a lot more anxious about it all than you think.
Huh? That old guy's only worried about the festival and saving face. He's not a good guy. It's all in his personal interest.
That's none of my concern. After you outed me yesterday, I asked the student union to help me search the area. You know the rest. I'm a professional, you understand, not just some random UMA fanboy. That's why I was called in. Obviously, deep down, we all hope it's just a bunch of wild dogs, but that's wishful thinking if you ask me. We can't keep beating around the bush if we don't want things to get even worse.
The previous incidents proved just how serious and dangerous the situation actually is.
If you had seen what I saw, you would know what I'm talking about. There's a saying in your country somewhere along the lines of, paper can't wrap fire. It means the truth will always come out. We better get this over with before more people figure out what's going wrong. Agreed?
Zach places a shell in Liam's hand while simultaneously patting him on the shoulder. He tries to make himself look old, wise, and reliable, something further amplified by his above-average height. He isn't expecting to get any more information out of Liam. That would merely be an added bonus. Making sure that Liam will keep his mouth shut about this is already enough.
Now you know. I told you everything. How about you do the same?
I only saw it from afar. I didn't get a good look, and I didn't have the courage to get any closer. A few days ago, I had an argument with someone. I was just wandering around for a walk to clear my head and calm down. That's when I suddenly heard a strange crunching sound. It was like beef being ripped apart or something, but incredibly loud, you know? I've never heard anything like it before, so naturally I wanted to take a look.
That's when you saw those squashed cats and dogs.
Yeah, squash sounds about right. They were pressed flat into the ground, one after the other, about 5 or 6 of them. I saw a dark shadow slowly making its way up the mountainside behind them.
A shadow, you say?
It was like a dark cloud the size of a car, constantly changing shape and color. As it made its way up the mountain, tentacles extended from underneath it. It looked as if it were moving on stilts. I don't know what it was, but it was creepy as hell. I can tell you that much. It made all kinds of strange noises as it moved. Sometimes it sounded like it was talking, but not in any human language. It was more like noises and sounds that no humans could ever replicate. The cat's dead body was still stuck to it. I imagine it had just sucked the blood from those animals and was retreating to somewhere it came from.
So it didn't see you?
I'd be dead if it had. I think it noticed some movement, though, judging by how the shadows changed shape. As his eyes widen, Liam gestures with his hands, as if worried that his words won't convey his message clearly. A large part of it fell to the ground, like it had separated some gooey shadow mass from itself. It dropped to the ground and violently twitched around. Its shape became more slender by the second. At the end of it all, it was about the size and shape of a human.
Wait, you're saying a person split from it?
It just looked like one, but then its color changed and...
And what? What happened then?
You... behind you... Liam looks as if he's seen a ghost. Even what he saw back then didn't scare him this much. Zack suddenly feels a chilling, oppressive aura right behind him as something grabs him by the shoulders. This is our secret, little brother. A familiar voice is ringing in Zack's ears, hoarse, deep, and full of disdain.
No way!
Using all of his strength, Zack manages to turn his head sideways a little. However, that doesn't help him in the least. Hello there. How's my body holding up?
You. Why are you here?
Why? Isn't it obvious? Two birds with one stone. This annoying brat is here, and they get to kick your ass. Where else would I be if not here? Zack's other self is standing a mere 5 centimeters behind him, a cold, cruel smile mirroring his evil intent. At that very moment, another sinister, dangerous presence enters Zack's field of vision.
That's... what?
The creature Liam was describing is suddenly right there. No longer a mere story, but very, very real.
No. No! Ah!
It takes but a split second for Zack's fragile mind to be overtaken by the frenzied madness. This nightmare, however, is only just beginning. He smiles sadistically at the young man's complete inability to react. You are walking around in a borrowed body. The rent is due. Time to pay up. Where the hell are they? I'm standing in front of the empty building we agreed to meet at. The doubts in my mind just keep piling up on top of one on top of the other. There's no sign of Neko. Dan and Scarlet are nowhere to be seen either. Only Yasmin and I are at the meeting spot. We look at each other, fully aware that things aren't going as planned at all. I never would have expected things to turn so messy. True, this whole thing was quickly put together, a rush job in the truest sense of the word, but we've been through this kind of risky situation before. We're a team that knows exactly what's at stake. The others are focused on the goal, and the lack of communication is uncharacteristic for everyone involved. Right now, however, none of them are here, and their phones aren't working either. Mister, where's Neko? Where's Mr. Dan? Or Miss Scarlet? It's okay, Yasmin. Don't worry. I'm sure they'll all be here soon. I pat Yasmin's head and sit down with her by the side of the road. I should stay calm. There's no need to be worried just yet. Maybe they just ran into something that required more time. They are under a lot of pressure, after all. I got here on time, but even before that, the power had already gone out, causing a blackout earlier than we had planned. It's not like all that. It's not at all like Neko to make a mistake like that. But who am I to judge? There's a lot of pressure on her. After all, everyone's timing is dependent on the power outage. Sure, she likes to hurl insults around, but I know all too well that Neko has a good heart. She's responsible with this sort of thing and is fully aware of how much is at stake here. She works even better under pressure, when she knows failure isn't an option. The more I think about it, could Neko be in danger? One would think that after so many close calls and dangerous encounters, I would be used to this paralyzing sensation of doubt and fear by now, but it's always the same nauseating feeling. It lingers deep down in my stomach, so overpowering that I simply cannot find the right words to comfort Yasmin, who's growing increasingly worried as well. Hey, there they are! Miss Scarlet! Mr. Dan! Huh? The little girl jumps up, filled with joy as she runs off towards the others. Scarlet and Dan appeared, followed by Liam and Quinn. They looked disheveled and exhausted, but none of them seemed to be hurt. The two students trailing behind Scarlet and Dan looked disoriented and shocked, though I don't know why. What happened? Have you guys seen Neko?
I'm sorry, we couldn't find the kid anywhere. I have no idea where she went.
Really? Well, I can't say I blame you. The situation is a mess. The police had already blocked off the entire site when I arrived, preventing anyone from entering or leaving.
I wasn't able to get in either, but I circled around. They weren't watching the entrance to the stairs all that closely.
So in other words, Neko didn't make it here. Neko didn't make it there in the first place, or they didn't find her.
But I don't know. The power would never go out on its own like that. Also, I'd say hiding without being noticed would be next to impossible, given how many people are on site. That's strange, but that means somebody else tampered with the power? My mind is racing. Things are getting more complicated by the second. It doesn't make any sense. There were two separate incidents, one in which stray animals were killed, and another in which an ancient relic was stolen. The power wasn't cut in either of those cases. If somebody sabotaged the power while we were investigating, it means whoever's working against us is on the move. As far as I'm aware, nothing resembling the two incidents have ever happened again, though. Pretty peculiar. It looks like Neko is the only one without any actual answers as to what really happened. I hope I get a chance to ask her about it. By the way, what made you decide to bring these two along all of a sudden? I just picked them up on my way here. I noticed they weren't looking too good, so I brought them along so you could take a look at them yourself. Dan pushes the two students towards me. He's right. They definitely don't look like they're doing too well. They both move like sandbags as he pushes them towards me. They said dead bodies are heavier than live ones, but that's actually due to the shift in a body's center of gravity after having lost muscle restraint. It feels heavier when picking it up, which also seems to be the case with the two students, though they are clearly still breathing. Their condition. By the way, I've been meaning to ask. I'm just an educated man, that's all. That's all. So why do you guys think of me as a psychiatrist? Well, I can't tell. I can tell if a body is injured. Physically, that is. You're obviously much more experienced when it comes to matters of the mind. I'm simply following what my literature tells me, so don't make it sound as if I've worked in a mental hospital. Mental hospital, huh? Don't get me started. I don't even want to imagine how much more our health insurance would cost if they found out about all this cultist brainwashing nonsense. You're finally back to your old ways, huh? Where was that loudmouth of yours these last 2 days? I throw the remark in Dan's direction while pulling back Quinn's eyelids to inspect her pupils. They remain enlarged even when a bright light is shining directly at them. I've never seen such an unresponsive iris before. The reaction of her pupils bothers me too. Quinn doesn't make any attempts to blink, even people who were born blind can't do that. It feels like I'm working on some sort of mannequin during a medical lesson. I approach Liam and give him the same checkup. His condition is the same as Quinn's. They seem completely lifeless, although they are both displaying vital signs. This is really strange. Liam? Quinn? Can you hear me? Everyone around me stays silent so as not to disturb me, but it's no use. The two students remain completely unresponsive. I see now why Dan brought them to me. If he could have treated them with conventional means, he would have done so already. And he didn't bring them here so I could do a routine medical check, which he could have done easily as well. Alright, I should try something that's closer to my area of expertise. I lift up an old piece of wood and hold it under their noses. Light brown sap starts to ooze from the decaying branches, giving off a rotten and dull smell similar to an aged matcha powder. It's something that I stumbled upon during a past case. A group of fanatics obsessed with the mysteries of traditional medicine somehow found a secret recipe for the essence of dreams. All of them were plagued by strange images in their dreams that ultimately drove them mad. This antidote that I'm using right now could have saved them, but when I arrived at the scene, nobody there could resist the allure of an endless, wonderful dream. All of them went on a journey, one they could never return from. I know how to apply it correctly, but I don't know if it's the right treatment for this particular condition. Even so, it's my only option. Might as well give it a shot. I rest my forehead against theirs as I apply the resin to both their faces, softly repeating the chant required for this ritual. They tremble slightly as their skin begins to heat up beneath the resin. My brain feels a little cold, as if my soul is drifting away. It may not sound like it, but that's a good sound. This is my chance to reach out to them. No matter where they are right now, if this works, they'll be able to explain exactly what happened after I get them back. What? A sudden cold pain in my chest interrupts my chant. It's a piercing, icy sensation that brings me back to reality. I lower my head. The tip of some kind of metallic object is sticking out of my torso, right where my lungs are. No. I know what kind of object it is. It's a dagger, sharp and long. One that I have seen cut through living and dead things in the swift, merciless hands of its owner before. This is Dan's dagger. Sorry, manager. It's game over. The pain is only now starting to register in my brain, yet the massive, overwhelming confusion that occupies my mind is still drowning it out. The blade twists at a 90-degree angle and is violently thrust sideways. My limbs have gone numb, and I've lost control of my body as it falls limply to the ground. But Why? You've always been a curious guy. That's your nature. I'm sure you have a lot of questions right now, but you won't get any answers. Dan twists the dagger once more and looks straight into my eyes. I don't know when it happened, but Yasmin must have been strangled a while ago. Dan is holding her motionless body in his arms. Her dead eyes are still covered in tears. Scarlet, where are you? Stop him, Scarlet. I muster all my strength to turn my head sideways before I lose consciousness. Huh? Scarlet is nowhere to be seen. Neither are the two students. Wait, specks of writhing shadows are crawling and twisting on the ground, slowly getting up with humanoid legs. Nose, eyes, mouth, ears. Scarlet's features are floating in the shadow's surface like a twisted, unholy caricature. Hazy despair eventually envelops me. It's too late for explanations. Too late for anything to make sense. Dan casually puts the dagger in his pocket and kicks me in the head with the tip of his shoe, forcing me to look up at the sky again. In the short moments before I take my last breath, my eyes break through the dark haze and I can see everything clearly. A cloud of colors is floating through the air, accompanied by an inexplicable, unnatural sound. It has no shape. My eyes can't process it properly, almost as if it were an optical glitch that doesn't belong in this world. The colors flicker and change, passing over my head and floating off into the distance. And yet it doesn't actually fly away. It has a beginning but no end. The colors stretch out endlessly, and although their borders remain, it shows no sign of stopping. Beautiful. It's magnificent, isn't it? Don't you want to get a closer look? He squats down beside me, mumbling to himself as if he's reciting a poem. Is it close to me or far away? How big is it? Strange questions that have no answer flood my mind, gradually overwhelming me until there is nothing else left to think about. Then the whole world finally goes dark. Slowly but surely, he opens his eyes. The ceiling. It looks familiar yet completely strange at the same time. What is this place? Is this heaven? After a short moment of doubt, he realizes how stupid that question actually sounds. How silly. Even if heaven and hell both existed, neither of them would look like this. That leaves only one conclusion. Finally, you're the last one to wake up. Zach's deeper than usual voice hums from above, properly waking up Neko. Help me up, will you? Neko tries to stand up, and two large hands lift her up from behind. The others are also in the room, standing around Neko in a circle. Everyone looks dead serious. Seeing their faces, the memories return at long last. Images flash before Neko's eyes. Most of them are extremely unpleasant. It feels like nothing I did even mattered. Don't say that. We've all been so worried about you. Yeah, she's right. Although it's a pain. Yasmin just fell asleep, and now you wake up. Looks like we can't enjoy a single moment without at least one little girl awake. His words have a certain weight to them, but the hidden information behind them is too much to process right now. So, you two are still Cecile and Zach? That's right. Well, I can't speak for myself, but I'm still Zach. I mean, this me right here is Zach, and the other one isn't. Hell, I don't understand. None of this makes any sense. What exactly happened? What's going on? I haven't figured it out yet. When I woke up, I was already in this room. It's the same for everyone. Judging by the way we woke up one after another, there's a bit of a delay, but the difference is negligible. By the way, keep your voice down. The store manager has just fallen asleep outside. It's been a long, grueling day. You can say that again. So, what time is it now? 12 p.m., huh? But the date is the tricky part. Cecile steps forward to hand Justin a towel. In 6 hours, we'll get up early, grab our equipment, and go to the school, together with the store manager. And then we'll come back here? Only now does he realize how sweaty he is. Neko's whole body looks like somebody threw her into a pool. All that sweat makes me wonder about the way you died. Wait, the way I what? Quinn and I found something weird in the classroom. How do I describe this? It was shapeless, like a gooey, meaty mass. It had eyes everywhere and made sounds that resembled some kind of indecipherable speech. Before we could react, it swelled up to the size of a car and chased us across the room between the desks and chairs. We reached the stairs, but it was smart. It blocked our way, so we never had an opportunity to get past it. Before we knew it, we ended up on the rooftop, trapped. Cecile lowers her head. Her expression is a mixture of fear and deep sadness. Quinn was so frustrated. She said something and pushed me down.
As I fell, all I saw from the corner of my eye was her body being thrust up against the railing, utterly crushed by that mass of flesh. Blood sprayed everywhere.
Cecile squeezes her fist to stop from trembling. Zach puts a hand on her shoulder as if to tell her that she doesn't have to say anything else. My situation was a little more complicated than that. I also saw a fleshy, sludgy thing. They can separate and split into multiple parts. They may look slow, but they're incredibly fast and agile. They can turn into all kinds of shapes.
And did those things get to you too?
No, they just appeared and I saw them. But I killed myself.
What did you say? Wait, you mean...
That's right. Dan is here too.
Although deep down he anticipated something like this might happen, the news of Dan's appearance still manages to shake Justin to his core.
Even with me basically being in the same body, there was a world of difference between the two of us. He managed to jump me. He just turned up out of nowhere.
Why exactly did he... I mean, how would he know?
Don't ask me. We're all in the same boat. I don't know any more than you do.
Zach sighs heavily and turns his head to the side. Dan is a heavy smoker, and the ill habit hurts everyone. When he sat down to smoke, Neko and Scarlet often had to flee the room. The air, if you could even still call it that, became unbearable. Maybe this memory of Neko is still trying to tell Justin something. The smell isn't as harsh and suffocating in the memory as it was in reality. A small relief. So that's how we all failed. It's hard to come to terms with it, mumbling to himself. Justin slowly accepts the cruel reality of it all. We have to admit that nothing went as we thought it would. This whole operation was over before it even started. On top of that, there are actual monsters at the school, the likes of which we've never seen before, and there's no doubt that something is seriously wrong with that massive hole at the tennis court, too. Nothing along the timeline went as it should have. Our intervention changed things. Think about it. I was attacked at the very moment I was busy with the blackout part of our plan. You guys became targets right after finding Quinn and Liam. It's as if somebody was aware of our every move. And that guy appearing right in front of Zach. Could all this scheming and plotting behind the scenes be Dan's doing?
He didn't hesitate for a second before attacking his own body. I don't even think he's human. Just a merciless, heartless beast.
Could this really be the way it all ends? Does Dan know something? Maybe something we don't? Judging by what you said, he doesn't seem surprised to see himself at all. True, maybe there's something only he knows. I've never expected him to just show up at a school like that. None of this makes any sense. What's his current condition if Zach's the one who's being used... if Zach's the one who's been using his body all this time? Is there some other way to travel around? I mean, if you use a time machine, you can take your body with you, right? I don't know. I've never heard Scarlet or Neko mention anyone who could have that kind of knowledge besides the store manager. They wouldn't have had time to take such big risks with us before... Oh, wait. They wouldn't have had to take such big risks with us before if they knew more people who were familiar with this kind of stuff. Maybe Dan was playing dumb the whole time.
If I remember correctly, those monsters at the school never attacked him. Do you think Dan is somehow working with them as well?
Oh, come on, really? Those things? The way they move? I can't think of a single effective way to fighting them. They can change shape and get past anything. Plus, they're incredibly strong. I didn't find anything about them that could help us. The store manager can't help us, so we can't rely on any spells or rituals like we did in the past. We have no idea what they are, or what they're called. We're up against the unknown that has no problem outmaneuvering us anywhere. It's much stronger than us, and all we have is a taser and a shotgun loaded with frickin' paintballs. Nothing works in our favor this time around. The detective's pessimistic conclusion causes a collective sigh throughout the room.
Well, what more is there to say? You're right.
Justin lowers his head. Someone with his sense of responsibility has a hard time dealing with this feeling of failure. But worrying is a waste of time. He doesn't need any comfort or nice words. He needs actions and results. Why? Isn't it obvious? 2 birds with 1 stone. This annoying brat is here, and I get to kick your ass. Where else would I be if not here? I'm not sure what happened, but I don't know. I don't know what's going on. But we're still alive and kicking. That's all that counts right now. Nothing is set in stone yet. Now that we know Dan has his eyes on Quinn and Liam, it's obvious that they must be of value to him. Getting to them before he does and taking them away from the school should give us much needed time to prepare. As long as we ignore the situation at the history building, we should be able to move them around freely. That's the gist of it, right? Exactly. The outcome can't possibly get any worse anyway. I'm sorry for this change of plan, but I can't think of any other way.
Don't be, whatever it takes.
Zack clenches his fist as his gaze becomes more determined. This determination rubs off on Cecile as well, and her fighting spirit is renewed. Even if it doesn't have anything to do with Yasmin, I don't want Quinn to meet such a cruel fate either.
And I won't be able to sleep peacefully until I make that sadistic idiot with his annoying laugh suffer.
Cecile crosses her arms and looks at the others with a serious expression on her face. All their efforts to save somebody have only resulted in 2 more people dying. Justin can't accept that. Even though this case has reached a magnitude that none of them could have anticipated, Justin can't deny that their overall preparation was lackluster. What with the 2 being students themselves, he feels an obligation to lead them and keep them safe. Zack can handle himself, and Cecile is a clever girl. Still, Justin feels a strong sense of responsibility in the face of such danger. It's his duty to keep the others from getting hurt. One question is eating away at Justin, though. Now that they have more information, will the others keep on supporting him and go along with his plan? Before Justin can say anything, Zack starts to speak, raising one eyebrow, like he always does.
I should just beat myself to a pulp right now, but he won't have much to laugh about then.
Zack, don't joke about that. Cecile seems overly excited. Her concern for everyone is obvious, and her shocked reaction always makes Zack's dumb jokes way funnier than they have any right to be. Zack turns this aside and gestures towards Justin. I'm serious this time.
I trust you.
Zack's voice is hoarse. Staring into Neko's eyes still confuses him, and it stirs up a whirlwind of mixed emotions. But he'll stand by his words. Considering all the things they have seen, which nobody ever would have believed be real, who's to say hope doesn't exist? Weighing the odds is the wrong approach right now. They simply have to trust each other and believe in themselves. Justin attempts a fearless and determined gaze, as much as his childlike face will allow. Then I'm with you. Let's do this. Together. The dark of night offers the best disguise he could hope for. His shoes make a dull sound on the concrete, but it doesn't travel far. He is experienced, walking softly and barely making any noise. The past has been his teacher, giving him confidence in his abilities. All of this is the result of sheer muscle memory. It's as if he's become one with the air surrounding him as he moves on silently. As it turns out, this is simply another talent amplified by the body swap, something that Zack has taken for granted up until now. Having a skill set like this can't hurt. The fence is quite high, with a metal railing at the top. Lush trees stretch out above it, and even the smallest movement will be enough to shake the branches. He can't risk being exposed. He stretches the muscles of his broad back, then pulls himself up and quietly squeezes through the gap at the top of the fence. The tools in his backpack are tightly wrapped. Being on his own makes this job particularly dangerous for Zack, but he's the only one who has a chance of pulling it off successfully. The threat is very real. Everything is still a confusing mess, and their plan is far from perfect. Stepping up and taking action is the only way forward. Otherwise, there won't be a future to speak of. When it comes to deciding who should handle the job that required smashing through the glass windows, the choice was obvious. It seems he'll never be able to leave his past actions and behavior behind him. He volunteered to go alone. Under the cover of night, he moves swiftly and unseen, the darkness concealing his every action. How he feels about it, whether he is sad or scared, none of that matters. Distractions such as emotions will have to wait until the sun comes up. He must do what has to be done before he loses the cover of night. And that's pretty much it. Let me take care of the rest. I kick the 2 large backpacks in front of me and look at my friends. You sound optimistic, but doesn't it ultimately just boil down to you waiting on the sidelines until you hear from us? Neko rolls her eyes and plays with the wire cutter in her hand, flicking it around like a butterfly knife. Her skills seem to have improved quite a bit since the start of our journey. Although I should be glad to have someone like that on my team, it leaves me with mixed feelings. I would like to say that I've taken on the role of a parental guardian, and I'm fairly certain most parents wouldn't consider hacking and lockpicking skills to be proud of. And that's just the first step. The important part comes afterwards. Improvising is never easy. Well, that's one way of saying we didn't have enough time to prepare. We are out in the open at the empty tennis court. The school being closed is a big help. It makes our job easier. Rumors about the weird holes in the court have been spreading like wildfire throughout the school, which means very few people dare to come here. Students love to tell scary stories, and we can use that to our advantage to make sure there aren't any unwanted interruptions. The general fear of the unknown is coming in handy. Quite ironic, considering the fact that we are the experts who were brought in to address these fears. Will Dan really be there later? He's not responding to any of my calls. Too unreliable for my tastes. He just woke up a little too late. He left early in the morning. He said he was heading out to have a look around.
Suddenly he can't wait any longer and is out and about so early? He should be more considerate. It's good to prepare, but making a racket and stopping Yasmin from getting her rest is wrong.
It's rare for that guy to take the initiative. I think he considers your whole approach to be too casual and slow.
But not being where he's supposed to be at the appointed time is another matter altogether. You two are quite protective of him today.
We still have 15 minutes left. You're not nervous, are you?
Do you want me to answer that honestly?
Never mind.
In the past, I was able to help others with my knowledge, but this time I have to rely on everyone's combined experience and expertise. Neko's genius, Scarlett's acting, Dan's strength. I have never depended on or asked this much of them before. Even if nobody said anything and followed me here, that feeling of my own incompetence still creeps into my heart. Scarlett seems to understand what I'm thinking all too well and doesn't dwell on the subject any further.
By the way, what makes you so sure you'll be able to stop that thing in the history building? There's nothing we can do about it if it turns up anywhere else, is there?
Sorry, I'd rather not answer that right now. It could interfere with the plan. I promise to explain everything properly once the dust is settled. It may not sound like a valid reason, but I trust my judgment on this one. If the enemy is truly aimless when it comes to their target selection, the odds of them finding the right place straight away are slim. The timing of it all is key here. The changes to the exhibit's original layout could very well affect the thief's plans. In order to cover up the truth, the piece in question has been returned to its original position and is still on display. If that is indeed the intended target, the enemy will surely try to steal it again, with us lying in wait. If they don't show up, then it's possible that the artifact they're after is the one that was stolen from the museum. However, not many people know about the replacement location, allowing us to narrow down the scope of the investigation accordingly. If they have no knowledge about this at all and are simply going in blind, all my guesses would turn out to be incorrect. Naturally, the whole plan would fail. Luckily, I believe that the chances of that being the case are very low. Everyone involved will have to play their cards sooner or later. Once that happens, there's no changing the situation. The mere thought of this stirs up a sense of adventure in me that I haven't felt in a long time.
Thinking happy thoughts? You're smiling all of a sudden.
Huh? Am I? Is my face that easy to read?
No, it's just... forget it. All that's left now is for Dan to come to the meeting point. Let's hope he takes this serious and doesn't fool around.
Neko, do you know how to use that thing you're carrying? It's not exactly common, that's why I'm asking. I watched Neko fiddle with the taser. The plastic casing and its block-shaped frame with yellow stripes on the front make it look fancier than it actually is, but that doesn't make it any less practical. Tech like that always looks strange to the uninformed, so I better keep my opinion about it to myself. Don't worry, I found a good tutorial on how it works online. Wait, you what? Are you absolutely sure you can trust that information?
Well, let's see.
Neko lowers her head, pressing buttons on the taser until an obnoxious beeping sound can be heard. I suddenly get a very ominous feeling in my gut.
You can never be sure unless you try, right?
What the?
Well, that's that. So, are you sure everything's okay? It smells burnt. I don't know, this is designed for crowd control during rides, so it should be fine. Anyway, he won't be able to move for a while, that's for sure. Justin pulls the two electrode darts off the store manager's skin and rolls the insulated copper wire back together. The wires conduct electricity, meaning they probably shouldn't be left stuck in the target's skin. Also, to avoid abuse by its user, the taser gun disperses dozens of small confetti-like paper scraps with serial numbers on them whenever it's fired. Picking them all up is a real hassle and next to impossible. Cleaning everything up is tricky, and this weapon is obviously only intended to subdue and incapacitate an opponent in a non-lethal way. Since it leaves so many traces after being fired, only someone who knows that they are in the right would fire it openly. This situation, however, is what Justin would describe as a moral gray area. He tucks the darts away and reloads the taser. The voltage was enough to make him pass out for a while. This taser operates on simple batteries, so it's best not to expect it to work this well multiple times in a row. Could you look for something to tie him up with? It doesn't sound nice, I know, but he won't stay unconscious forever, and once he wakes up, I'm pretty sure he'll have a lot to complain about, meaning he'll get loud, very loud. Huh? Right, yeah, I'll go look for some rope. Justin looks at Cecile's panicked expression and starts having his doubts about whether she'll be alright.
Don't bother, I've got this. I have a big old roll of duct tape here, enough to wrap him up like a mummy.
Zach, you're finally here. We've been waiting for you.
I took my time. I just wanted to make sure that Yasmin was safe and sound.
Every time Yasmin's name is mentioned, Neko's body trembles a little. Though the feeling was incredibly weird at first, after a couple of days of adjusting to it, Justin has gotten used to it.
Come on, store manager. Just enjoy some sweet dreams for a while. Oh, jeez. Was he always this heavy?
Zach gets to work. Loud ripping and tearing noises can be heard due to all the duct tape. Zach seems relaxed and happy as he quietly hums to himself. His whole demeanor is eerily similar to that of the real Dan. Justin realizes that a face can't really hide anything. That's why the faces of people driven by evil thoughts are so scary. I assume that since he's not being beaten to a pulp by security guards, Zach pulled off his job successfully. I hope so. Truth be told, that's what I've been worried most about when it comes to this plan. His body looks different, sure, but his brain is still the same size, so...
Hey guys, I'm right here. I can hear you.
Well, what's done is done. We're off to a good start.
I understand your concern, and you're right. As the old me, I probably would have been caught by security before even making it inside. But everything went smoothly. I climbed up to the top floor from the side wall, then managed to make it to the window and crawl inside.
Did you get bitten by a spider and forgot to tell us about it?
Who can say? Only Dan knows. Anyway, once I get close, my body took over. It was as if I reacted to everything before I could even register with my brain.
Is that how all veterans act?
He's no ordinary veteran. I'm guessing that this guy's been in more military camps than he can count. By the way, here it is. Not sure what this little bell is for, but maybe you're familiar with it.
Zach pulls a black cloth out of his pocket and opens it. Wrapped inside is a small bell.
Doesn't really look like a famous artifact. Did you find out what it's called?
I tried, but there's as good as nothing about it. I scoured the internet, and it seems to be a pretty recent discovery. Very little is known about it. Maybe any research on it isn't available to the public. Without a written dissertation that has been officially published, it makes sense that so little information is available. No idea. I'm the wrong person to ask about that kind of stuff. Justin sighs, although he could have guessed that things would turn out like this in the end.
Why don't you ask me?
Zach spreads his arms at his less than stellar attempt at a joke. Not funny. What's next, Justin? Are we going to proceed as planned? We have no reason not to try. We have the bell and are already too involved to turn back. Justin wraps the bell back up and passes it to Zach. It's almost weightless, as if unaffected by gravity. After some careful considerations, Justin allows Zach to shove it in his backpack.
Cecile and I will go and find Quinn and Liam. You should be safe as long as you stay clear of the library.
This time I'll stop her before she reaches the library. Whatever happens, I can't let her get near the school building again. In that case, I'll lend you my taser, just to be on the safe side.
Maybe it would make sense to use Liam as bait. I tried that yesterday. Those two have a lot of secrets.
Okay, thanks.
Cecile grabs the taser. She looks a little sad.
And then we'll sneak off with Yasmin and go home. That has to be the way, doesn't it? Cecile puts a hand on her forehead. She looks exhausted. If there were any other way, we wouldn't be doing this. There aren't many others at this school who could be after the bell. Dan could find out and come after us. If that happens, I want us to be ready. That's why I was fiddling with the circuitry earlier, remember?
You learned how to set up electric shock traps from a monkey controlling a human body? I can't be the only one who realizes how ridiculous that sounds.
Monkey or not, as long as the traps work, that's all that counts. Justin steps in front of Zach. He gazes at the young man, an inexplicable fire burning behind his eyes. I know this is a chaotic operation, even more so than yesterday, but we know more now and we are aware of the most important points. If anything goes according to plan, it will be much better than yesterday.
I sure hope so. Dan is strong, stronger than all of us combined. Nothing can take him by surprise. He's cold and calculating. I saw that with my own eyes yesterday.
That means he must have known something that we were still unaware of at the time. We need to find out what happened afterwards. Zach's pessimistic words come at a bad time, but he is right. Digging into his memories makes Justin lose some of his motivation. Hold on a minute. Alright. Still, their only option is to go forward. Zach's courage and perseverance, in spite of the hopeless situation, inspire Justin. I know if Yasmin will... I don't know if Yasmin will let us try again. I don't plan on ending up as cannon fodder. We won't throw our lives away. We have to be brave if we ever want to solve this.
That's just about the most uplifting thing I've heard you say yet. We could use a breakthrough.
Zach looks a little lost and stares off into the distance. Trust me one more time. All of us can pull this off together, okay?
You're in charge. We're with you.
Thanks. All of us, together. Following his old habits, the detective reaches out to tip his hat before realizing his hand is grasping at thin air. It takes a few seconds before he remembers which body his soul is occupying at the moment. What, you're not coming to the event? Come on, showing up to these things is every once in a while won't kill you. Me being there will only cause trouble. I'm aware of my reputation, and so are you, so there's no need to be nice to me. You always refuse to participate. Sooner or later, the teacher will take notice, and once he steps in, all of us will suffer. I see. Damn, just let me think about it. What's the matter anyway? Did something happen? At first I thought you were just in our bad mood. No, it's just...
I'm sorry to interrupt, but this young man has work to do.
Right, what? Do you know this guy? I know him, but...
I need to talk to you about something. It has to do with what happened yesterday.
Huh? Hey, you don't have some kind of deal with a foreign coach, do you? If there's one thing I hate, it's people who betray their country and sell their pride for money. Like, use your head, will you? Do you really think someone with my reputation and skill level would get scouted? How should I know? Could be that you just kept your real talent hidden from us all along. You have a healthy imagination, I'll give you that.
I see you two are tight. The magic of friendship.
Tone down the sarcasm. You seeing this? You're seeing this, right? This kind of stuff is exactly why I can't go with you.
I'm sure your teacher has been notified and will inform you sooner rather than later. I just returned from the principal's office, so if you have any questions, take it up with your teacher.
Huh? Okay.
I'll be borrowing him then. See you later.
Anyway, hey, don't drag me like that. Get your hands off me. I can walk just fine on my own. That guy's Chinese was really good for a foreigner.
Wow, he really bought it. I didn't think something like this would work in real life. That was straight out of a movie.
I'll be the one getting in trouble for it, so you have nothing to worry about anyway.
I'll handle it all right? Trust me.
Trust you? How can I? When we first met, you lied and pretended to be a tourist.
Oh, right, I did, didn't I?
Back to the point. What do you want?
It really has something to do with what happened yesterday. That wasn't a lie.
You mean that animal in the mountains? You still haven't given it up yet?
I don't give up that easily. Hey, over there, take a look at that.
What is it? Zach quietly moves behind Liam, forming a pretend pistol with his fingers. He slowly presses it against Liam's back. What the?
Shh, keep it down. Wouldn't want anyone to take notice now, would we? Good boy.
I can't believe you managed to bring something like that inside the school grounds.
I'm not gonna lie to you. The school hired me because I'm an expert. I didn't bring this gun along to use it on kids, just to make that clear. Things have been somewhat chaotic around here, and your principal is a lot more anxious about it than you think.
Huh? That old guy's only worried about the festival and saving face. He's not a good guy. It's all in his personal interest. What a familiar answer. Zach feels a little strange. Liam is straightforward and easy to read. He doesn't hide anything. Zach decides to answer with equally familiar words.
That's none of my concern. After you spotted me yesterday, I asked the student union to help me search the area. You should know the rest. I'm a professional, you understand? Not just some random UMA fanboy. That's why I was called in. If you don't want to help, I'll have to get the student union involved again. Oh, that's right. You and them don't get along, right? Isn't that reason enough?
What do you want from me?
Peace of mind, that's all. That way you won't be missing any limbs anytime soon, provided things go well.
Zach uses his imposing body to block the glances of the other students. He presses his finger gun against Liam's back once more.
For now, you just have to follow me.
Okay, I'll write up a report then. Sorry for making you come all the way out here. Don't worry, your job is much more stressful than mine. You look exhausted. Don't say that. You guys do your job so well, there's barely anything left for me to do. We're nearly finished anyway. We've been preparing this for so long that at this point it seems like the school is simply torturing us on purpose. Well, midterm exams are coming up pretty much right after, so hang in there. Please, I don't think I can handle that kind of pressure. Anyway, I'll be heading back now. Okay, good luck. Let's hope today goes by peacefully. I hate to say it, but I'm afraid the chances of that being the case are slim.
Cecile has been waiting for the perfect moment to take her entrance as dramatic and scarlet-like as possible.
Well, I can't say I had high hopes, especially with you guys around. You look exhausted. Had a long trip? It's quite a walk across the school grounds. You take breaks along the way too, right? You came all the way out here, so I assume you want to talk to me about something. I could really use your help with something. Could you spare the time? There's no need for you to be so polite. The principal made it clear that helping you out is of the highest priority. I see. Well, we're here to catch a thief after all. I just came here to see if there was anything I could help with concerning the preparations, but of course your matters are more pressing. So, what do you need me to do? We came across a student who may very well have some information that could help us, but he doesn't seem particularly open to sharing his thoughts. That's why we thought we should talk to someone who knows him better. Someone who knows him better? Is it someone from the student union? No, he's not one of yours. I think you mentioned his name yesterday. Wait, yesterday? Are you talking about... That's right, I'm talking about the student named Liam. That won't be easy, actually. I told you about it yesterday, didn't I? He's had problems with the student union because... No need to elaborate, he's already told us why.
Truthfully, he hasn't. Zach is probably talking to Liam like this as well right now. Relying on the information and memories from yesterday is the best way to quickly gain their trust. Quinn looks somewhat upset for a second, but she quickly regains her composure.
Why come to me if you already know? We don't have any other choice. He's in a pretty bad state right now. Mentally, I mean. You two have been at each other's throats for so long, I'm sure you know each other really well. Every word we say to him could provoke a bad reaction. Strangers like us won't be able to handle it as well as you could.
Quinn considers this for a moment. Due to her own experiences, the words seem to resonate with her.
That sounds really serious. Is Liam in some kind of trouble? I think we pushed him too much. We thought he was simply an eyewitness, but asking him all sorts of questions made him remember something horrible. It seems likely that he saw whatever is haunting this school. Just the memory of that was enough to scare him. Liam scared? Even he... I didn't think it was that serious. Of course, we want to find out what exactly he knows, but more importantly, we can't leave him like this. We need to find a way to make him snap out of it. You have seen the damage done to the school with your own eyes. Now imagine that same damage being done to people instead of property. So, will you help us? Oh, of course. Lead the way.
Why do I suddenly feel like I'm really, really wrong? Help! Somebody help! The auditorium is on fire!
Wait, what? How could that have happened?
Are you with the student union? Does anyone know how to use a fire hydrant?
Has anyone called the firefighters yet?
I did, but I don't think they'll make it in time.
Crap, I'll go check it out.
Nothing to do with me. Nothing to do with me. The students are scaring each other more than anything, but Justin can't judge them for it, especially after having set the building on fire. He hasn't forgotten about Neko's very effective smoke bombs back at the Sanjin building. Fortunately for him, the chemistry labs in this school are quite well equipped, but their doors aren't particularly secure. If it hadn't been for that, he could never have prepared things so quickly, even with Neko's intrinsic knowledge.
How did she know so far in advance that we'd be needing this now?
The amount of smoke is immense. These things are highly volatile and have to be handled with great care, especially since they are handmade rather than professionally assembled. Even though Neko's a genius and simply loves tinkering, it's scary that she knows how to build things like that. I wonder how she got started with all this in the first place. Never mind that. That's a topic for another day. Just as Justin hurries towards the school gates, there's only one thing on his mind: clearing a way out of here so everyone can get out safely. What's going on here? What's with all the police? What's going on? Why are there so many people outside all of a sudden? Hey, you over there, get away from the door. Sorry, officer, but is there a problem? I have work to do this afternoon, so I have to go back. No, we have clear instructions. This place is sealed off. Nobody is allowed in or out. But why? This has nothing to do with me. I'm only going to repeat this one last time. Step away or we'll have no other choice but to use force.
Crap. Fine, fine. I'm stepping away. You can put down your hands. What the hell is going on today? Those are some very tight security measures. Justin's mind is worrying. There's no way of getting inside the whole place. There's no way of getting inside since the whole place has been sealed off. Even if he had wings, he would probably get shot down from the sky trying to get in. Using the taser on 1 or 2 people would have been manageable, but the way things are now, a sneaky approach is next to impossible. Hey kid, you can't be walking around here on your own. Go back to your mom and dad. Huh? Are you, sirs, trying to catch a bad guy? Wow, it looks so cool. This is dangerous, so please stay around adults and don't walk around on your own. I'm serious. And don't go near the history building. If an adult asks you why, tell them it's a direct order from the police. You understand? Oh, okay. Bye-bye. So, children and all adults receive the same cold treatment. The blockade is even stricter than expected. They definitely weren't sent here because of the emergency call. The response time was way too quick. Sealing off the entrance with such measures would be unnecessary to simply put out a fire. Judging by the way they're handling this, it wouldn't come as a surprise if they wouldn't even let the real firefighters through. The auditorium is cleared out already. I don't understand what all the fuss is about. Also, they specifically mentioned that we should stay away from the history building. What's going on there that they don't want us to see? If Zach's theft was the reason to provoke such a fierce reaction from the school, they would have called the police much earlier. Their equipment is high-tech. The markings on their cars are different from those on regular police vehicles. In most cases, no police officer in the city is that well armed. This doesn't have anything to do with what Zach stole. The store manager is still in the storage room. We haven't done anything at the history building. If it wasn't any of them, that means that somebody else is carrying out their own plans at this very moment. Crap, this is bad. If we don't hurry... Never before has Justin been this angry at himself for not putting things together sooner. What's with all the commotion outside?
Loud footsteps come and go, unnerving Cecile. The room is dark since they turned off all the lights to avoid attracting attention. A faint stale smell lingers in the air. Zach can't sit still and walks up to Cecile, scratching his head. I don't know. Sounds like it's coming from the auditorium. Should I go take a look?
I don't think that's a good idea. Maybe Miss Neko's doing. If that's the case, it could interfere with things if you were to spot it outside.
All right, whatever you say. But how much longer are these two going to dawdle? We've been holed up here for so long, my hair is starting to fall out from the stress.
Why worry about that when it's not even your own body?
It's a matter of pride, Cecile. One that unifies all men under one banner. I wouldn't expect you to understand. As soon as one single hair leaves the scalp, all of us share the pain. Besides, my family on my dad's side's always had badly receding hairlines and...
Okay, I get it. Calm down and stop sharing unnecessary information like that with me.
Cecile pushes a hyped-up Zach away, her expression a mix of annoyance and disgust.
The only thing I can agree with is the part about the stress. I'm with you on that.
Putting Quinn and Liam in the same room seemed like a bad idea from the very beginning. They are huddled in the corner, staring at each other.
Hey, mind putting some distance between us? I can't concentrate with you all over my face. Funny, I was thinking the same thing. What do you have to concentrate on in a place like this anyway? Just random things. What I'm not concentrating on is judging others, unlike some people. And just who you referred to when you say some people? Take a wild guess. Hey, just for the record, I came here to help because I was told you were in a state of shock because you saw something horrible. A blatant lie, as it turns out.
Whatever stories those two made up, that's none of my business. I never asked for your help, did I?
It's my obligation to help the students at this school if I hear there's something wrong. I don't need your permission to do so, do I?
Oh, and suddenly you're concerned about me? Where was that concern of yours when you took the principal's side after he announced the track and field ban?
There was already a compromise. What else can I do if you just stubbornly refuse to accept it?
What? You call that compromise a good solution? Making others take the fall just to save face?
I acted in the school's best interest.
I was right all along. You've been so blinded by the feeling of authority that you can't tell a right from wrong anymore.
What did you say?
Their argument is growing more intense by the second. Cecile is just about to say something, before she can, Zach steps in and walks up to the two students. Both of you, calm down. If I'd known you were going to lock me up with her of all people, I would have tried to run away, even if your finger gun had been real. This is hell on earth. You just wanted information from me, didn't you?
If I tell you everything right now, will you let me go?
You've got quite a temper, young man. So stubborn and narrow-minded. A little more composure would do your charisma quite a favor.
Huh, charisma. It's not like he had any of that to start with. What? You want to say that again? I'm sorry for having misled you. By now, both of you should have realized that we didn't bring you here just to ask you a few questions. It's truly unnerving how you can lie with such a straight face, miss.
Quinn's resentful glare makes Cecile feel pretty bad about herself. But it is just like the store manager once said. She is a person with an honest heart, unable to lie and deceive people. It's fine. She's not Cecile right now. She's Scarlet. Scarlet would never let something like this get to her. Cecile reminds herself of this over and over again.
Let's just say I had good acting coaches.
Anyway, as soon as the others get here, we're all leaving the school, and I'm not going to do anything to you, but if you don't watch your backs, I can't guarantee that you'll make it out unharmed.
Leaving the school? Like going off campus?
That's right. I told you everything you need to know. You can either cooperate, or I'll have to carry you out of here over my shoulder. Your choice. No, and let this serve as a friendly reminder. Just because a taser is labeled non-lethal doesn't mean it won't hurt. A lot.
So why did you come looking for us? To be honest, that's something we have wanted an answer for a while now, too. Someone has it out for you so badly that they sent someone after you. It's our job to prevent things from coming full circle again. I don't quite understand what you mean.
Liam has seen the danger with his own eyes, so he probably knows a little more than you do. The fact that the principal personally invited us here proves how serious the situation has become.
Something outside the realm of common sense is happening at the school. We've been given a conclusion to it all, but no reason. Wait, so you're saying someone's targeting us, but you don't even know the reason why?
Believe it or not, that's actually quite common. It doesn't if we could theoretically get into contact with the enemy. Starting a fight on school grounds is irresponsible.
Wait, contact? You can talk to those sludge things?
Hear that, Quinn? I told you he knows things.
In this case, contact means actual confirmation of the existence of certain mythical beings. As it happens, the store manager has studied the tales left behind by ancient civilizations, and he assumes that you have something to do with a ritual, whether intentionally or unintentionally. You make it sound like we'll be wearing robes and chanting weird spells as we wave branches around.
Our team members have fought off entities more horrifying than these with nothing more than pen and paper. A wall is a wall to them. It doesn't matter what you use to build it. There is more to it than simply carving a pattern into something. These rituals are highly complicated. We refer to them as rituals for the sake of convenience, but the truth is our knowledge is so limited that we simply have to try everything and hope something works. We don't know the mechanism behind any of these rituals. Humans, and that includes us, are quite primitive in that regard. Do you understand what I'm saying? When things reach a point at which nothing makes sense anymore, the experts, meaning us, get called in to piece the puzzle together, even if we don't know whether we pieced it together correctly until the very end. Well, we have to try.
So, as long as the store manager thinks you two need protection, we'll keep an eye on you. I know the whole situation seems absurd and doesn't make much sense, but that comes with the territory. It's only going to get worse from here. That's the important part. Knowing too much isn't always an advantage. That's unfair. You barely explained anything at all. Quinn, only half of the reason for bringing you here was a lie. The other half? It's real. Very much so. I've experienced it firsthand.
Okay, enough chit-chat for now. Getting us a cab out of here shouldn't be that hard. What's taking so long? I'm getting next to no signal in here. I'll go outside and call Justin. Stand by the window and keep an eye out, okay?
Cecile nods and watches as Zach leaves the building. Hey, you, student union president. Hey, don't ignore me. Hey, listen, this is serious. What are you talking about? You heard everything they were saying just now, right? And I wasn't lying. About those strange shadows you saw? It is what it is, I guess. Stop being so stubborn. This isn't the right time to be acting up like this. What are you getting at? This isn't about you trying to prove how honest you are, is it? Listen, since we're the only ones who seem to be involved in this, it's got me thinking. Could what they were looking for have something to do with what happened when we were in junior high? What has it been, 3 years? You heard what that big guy said. Things have been happening that don't make any sense, and you've seen them with that kid. I have to admit, when you put it like that, it does make sense. Doesn't it? How about cluing me in? What the...
Liam's eyes go wide with fear. Realizing he's been caught red-handed, he doesn't put up any resistance.
I knew it. Your hearing is something else. 3 years ago, the two of us went to junior high together. And you never cared to mention that because... Well, come on, how am I supposed to know what you want to know? Anyway, even back then she was obnoxious as hell. That's the only reason I haven't forgotten her face. You mentioned things outside the realm of common sense happening and all that, and it only just dawned on me. Okay, then elaborate. What happened 3 years ago? 3 years ago, a large group of people at our school suddenly fell ill, all at the same time. People caught a fever and felt weak in their arms and legs. Some even passed out. Also, the symptoms grew increasingly worse the further they moved away from the school. A group of students had to stay at school for a little over 2 weeks. During that time, they were examined by doctors like guinea pigs. In the end, however, they couldn't find anything. No virus, no bacteria, nothing. A couple of classes were affected, but it wasn't contagious. That means the class right next door to an infected one could be in perfect health. There was no rhyme or reason to it. There was just one thing they all had in common. They had attended PE class at the same time. Did your class get sick too? I wasn't in her class, but I noticed that she was one of the students who had to stay at school overnight because of the illness. Actually, it happened to be the last night too. The last night? Yes, after that night, everyone suddenly started getting better again. And what happened? That night, I was so tired of being locked inside that I decided to get some fresh air. I snuck outside to the schoolyard after all the lights were off. As it turned out, she had the same idea. It was totally dark. I noticed Liam walking, or rather stumbling around. He had no idea where he was going. That buffoon ran right into me. Hey, how was I supposed to notice you when you were crouching down on the ground in the dark? It was as if you were trying to make yourself as small as possible on purpose. Anyway, that's beside the point right now. We bumped our heads against each other. Her fault, obviously. We got into an argument and started shouting at each other. A strange light suddenly emerged from the bushes next to us, probably drowned out by the sound of our voices. Your fault, obviously. Anyway, the light looked iridescent, floating in midair like a ball. It looked sort of like a flying Mercury, but it didn't have that metallic shine. It was glowing on its own, rather than just reflecting something. The flowers and plants around it began to glow too. They even grew a little. The ball seemed wet and slippery for whatever reason. It was making strange clicking noises and started spinning around wildly. This guy here, smart as he is, decided to step in and catch it, grabbing it like a basketball. Hey, cut me some slack. I was simply trying to protect you. You should have seen yourself. Your eyes were glued to that thing as if you were under its spell. I'd bet all this month's lunch money that if you saw it at the edge of the cliff right now, you wouldn't have hesitated for a second and jumped right after it. When he grabbed it, the ball of light immediately exploded. It was like watching fireworks go off. Everything lit up and it was painfully bright. You could feel the flash through closed eyelids. It was like staring into the sun. Liam was shaking as if he'd been electrocuted. I reached for his hand, and the moment I touched it, I lost all my strength. You know that feeling of losing energy when you're donating blood? That's how I felt, but it wasn't just a little blood, more like a geyser. The light was blinding and my body gave in. I felt so weak. I had no clue what was happening. Next thing I know, the doctor wakes up Quinn and me in our hospital beds. Afterwards, I learned that was the moment when all the students stopped showing any symptoms. And you two decided to just keep that whole experience to yourselves. There was no aftermath. Nothing ever happened again after that. It wasn't exactly fun, as you can imagine, so we both done our best to forget about it. Also, when you mentioned that kid, you were talking about Yasmin. What's the connection there? Well, after that ball of light disappeared, I thought I saw the kid secretly watching from the sidelines. That was 3 years ago. Considering kids that age grow up so fast, she should look different by now. When you picked her up, I could tell right away. It's her, no doubt about it. It's hard to explain. It's weird, but normal kids, or normal people of any age for that matter, don't have that kind of look in their eyes. You saw her too, huh? I was so far away from her at the time, I thought I was simply seeing things. No, I'm absolutely sure. Just a few seconds were enough. I'll never forget that dreadful feeling. So, there you have it. 3 years ago. If you want to check the information for yourself, look at the news articles related to Kaizo Middle School 3 years ago. Many experts were brought in, but ultimately they never came to a conclusion. I really wish you would have told me all this earlier. We don't have much time. Excuse me? We've known each other for less than 2 days, okay? Does any of this sound like something you would just share with a random stranger? I'm only telling you all of this because we're stuck in here. Liam, can we be sure there were no consequences later down the road? You weren't athletic in junior high, were you? Then out of nowhere, you're jumping up and down like Spider-Man. Everyone thought that was a sudden and unexpected development. Boards go up a little later. You should lead by example and take your biology classes a little more seriously, Miss Student Union President. It's not my job to explain the inner workings of the male body to you. Shut up. Stop picking at me at a time like this. It's not like you've got a good explanation for it. Do I really need one? Who knows, man? I'm just naturally gifted. Okay, just give me a moment to process all of this. Cecile gets up from her chair, rubbing her forehead thoughtfully. Getting so much new and important information out of the two of them was completely unexpected. Cecile needs to share this with the others as soon as possible. Zach needs to know first. Though the two students don't seem like they're planning to run away, Cecile doesn't want to take any risks. Why hasn't he come back yet? A simple phone call shouldn't take this long. From 1 second to the next, her whole body goes stiff. Are you guys finally done talking? A tall figure is hovering in the shadows by the door. That definitely isn't Zach. The aura of anger and hatred surrounding this person betrays his true identity. Though his face is the same, Zach would never have such cold eyes. Though his face is the same, Zach would never smile in such a cruel, sadistic way. Though his face is the same, Zach has a good heart, whereas this person is looking at them with absolute disdain and disregard, like a hunter who enjoys watching his prey suffer. Most importantly, there can't be two Zachs in this world at the same time. Run! Cecile clearly remembers what Zach told her about Dan's strength and his advantage over all of them. At least try to resist, would you? Put up a struggle. Or at least try to resist, would you? Put up a struggle. Oh, sorry sight. Are you really that weak? You cracked in less than 2 minutes. What a disgrace. Show some backbone, would you? Shut up. What was that? Shut up? If you want me to shut up. Or, what was that? Shut up? You want me to shut up? Man up and make me. A shadow was flung towards Cecile as fast as black lightning. Only as the sound of the dull impact echoes through the room does Cecile realize that shadow was Zach. The harsh collision nearly pushes his ribs through his lungs. Zach, are you okay? Zach!
What does it look like?
For a second I thought you might be someone else. You've been using your fist more than your brain all your life, but you've been getting better at using your head. Now that head of yours, haven't you?
Oh, don't act like you know me.
Zach gasps for air and braces himself against the table in an effort to stand up.
You're not worthy of knowing me.
His chest is growing warmer. Cecile reaches out, but pulls her hand back at the last second. She doesn't need to touch the red liquid dripping from Zach's chest to know what it is. Oh, that's quite some mouth you've got, boy. Come here, keep talking. That's a punctured windpipe right there. That should be a piece of cake for me, right? Zach is looking worse by the second. Cold sweat covers his body, mixing with the blood from his wound and gradually soaking his shirt. A sad and terrible realization hits Cecile at that moment. Dan already had the upper hand before the fight even began. Holy shit! What is this? This... Quinn's face is frozen with fear. Liam is completely taken by surprise, looking as if he unknowingly walked onto an action movie set and is now caught in the crossfire. Driven by instinct, he stands up and extends an arm to shed Quinn from the danger. Cecile can see Quinn is hiding away in the shadows behind Liam, desperately extending an arm behind her to reach for the window. Barely 5 minutes ago, Zach made sure the whole room was sealed shut. Bo, what a courageous young man we have here. You've got guts. I respect that. But you're not blind, are you? You can see the difference in strength between us. That being said, sit down and be quiet. I'll take care of you later. Don't come any closer. Stay away, do you hear me? Cecile pulls out the taser and musters all her strength to stabilize her wrist. She points the taser straight at Dan, whose fierce laugh is growing more mocking by the second. Ah, there it is. I almost forgot you had something so fancy with you. The store manager never quite understood how to turn the safety off and almost electrocuted himself. My, time flies by so fast. It's almost like remembering the good old days back at summer camp. When it comes to technology, it looks like you and him are on the same wavelength as far as stupidity is concerned. The switch needs to be turned up, not down, lady. Huh? Cecile's short moment of inattention gives Dan enough time to move right next to her. You fell for it. Get away from me! Cecile doesn't have time to think. Pulling the trigger is the only thing she can think of. She fires, the taser pointing straight at Dan's chest. Oh, what a feeling! What a feeling! Dan's whole body twitches as his muscles spasm uncontrollably. A nasty smell of burnt skin fills the air. The vultures was so strong that a piercing beeping sound filled Cecile's ears. But even after all this, Dan remains standing, showing no sign of backing down whatsoever. What a sensation! He smiles as if he's never smiled before and places his hand on Cecile's head. What? Everything turns white and all sound suddenly fades away. A huge electric shock rushes through Cecile's brain. She collapses on the ground, her body twitching like a million ants are crawling across her skin. How about it? Doesn't it feel great? Get the hell away from me! Stop mucking around! Liam and Zach both start rushing towards Dan, one after the other. Dan casually avoids their attacks by sidestepping them effortlessly. My young friend, only dumb thugs yelling to fight, okay? Let's at least be professional about this. Dan pounces on Liam like a wild dog and kicks him into a pile of desks. Ah, yes, I forgot you two were a thing. My bad. You... I won't get into it any farther. No need to turn this into a teenage romance drama. Just shut up already. Come on, I'm only picking up what's mine from those two lovebirds. Why is it so hard for you to stay out of this? You hear what I'm saying, right? There's no need for you to play hero. Do what you must, but you're gonna die here anyway, no matter what. Cecile watches as Dan slowly walks up to Zach, lifting his body off the ground with no effort at all. Zach punches and kicks viciously, but it's no use. They've been so wasteful with things they don't even understand. Although that thing only has a few fragments left, a complete recovery would make time travel child's play. These two unlucky souls just so happen to stumble upon it at its weakest, gulping it all down right into their stomach or lungs. Who knows? In short, they were like children in the sandbox, unafraid of eating something inedible, not knowing what it would do to them in the long run. Their ignorance tore apart the door, shattered it to pieces. It took 3 whole years to make it usable again. It won't be another 3 years if we fail this time. That's why I've come back here to make sure the plan comes to fruition, regardless of whether you or anyone else interferes. You understand now, don't you? It's the sole reason for my existence. If you tamper with it, I'll come back through time and kill you, over and over again. Accept that and stay away from me. Dan's tone is growing increasingly hateful. Even Cecile, who is still immobilized, can feel goosebumps all over her body. That's it. A little hard is over. Now die. You piece of... Ah! Zach? As she lets out a horrified scream, 2 things drop right in front of Cecile's eyes. One of them is Zach's lifeless body, battered, bloody, and broken. The other thing is a red, flashy lung, dripping with blood. No, this can't be happening. Cecile can't open her eyes to face reality, for reality is much too cruel. No matter how many times I do it, I still feel bad about killing myself. What a nice body. It's not something you get used to, I'm afraid. Well, that's life, or death in this case. Mumbling to himself, Dan shakes drops of blood and chunks of flesh off his arms as he makes his way towards Cecile, one menacing step after the other. The ominous sensation of painful death creeps into Cecile's brain, freezing her in place. Hey, stay away from her, or I'll shoot. Neko's voice can be heard through the door, exhausting and panting as if she'd just run a marathon. This time, it isn't enough to make Cecile feel safe. Some quick hands you got there. Nice shotgun. Hope you haven't forgotten that I know about everything. You think I don't know what kind of bullets are in there? Even with the shotgun pointed at his head, Dan keeps approaching Cecile, towering over her like a menacing shadow. He doesn't even bother to turn around. Wait a minute, what the hell is this? The sound of muscle tissue ripping closes like a tidal wave, and the screams for help are soon drowned out by the torrential sounds of raining blood and tearing flesh. Justin. Oh, I see you have a friend here. No wonder you're so organized. That's cheating. Cheating is bad. He has no right to say that. Cecile's confused mind barely squeezes out her last few thoughts. Everything is pointless now. Whatever she does, it's no use. Dan towers over Cecile as he wraps his hands around her head. He speaks to her with a mocking, bone-chilling kindness in his voice. Don't worry, girl. You're next.
Back in time again, huh? Oh boy, things have gotten interesting as they have been throughout the latter half of this game. This is audap. You've been watching Hermitage, Strange Case Files on Nintendo Switch. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed watching. I will see you at the next stream.